I want you to consider that you've been measuring the wrong thing all along. A single, well crafted piece of content that speaks directly to the right person at the right moment can change the entire direction of their life, their career, their sense of what is possible. You're asking the wrong question on the wrong tool. Your depth, your experience, your expertise is not a liability, it is your greatest asset. I want to talk to you if you're the coach who is sitting somewhere right now feeling like you're behind. You've been coaching for months or even years. You've taken the training, you've practiced, you've held space, asked those powerful questions, practiced your deep listening, and you've had a full life honoring your skills, honing your skills, your expertise, and you care. You've sat with people through some of their difficult and most meaningful moments, and you've developed a perspective that is specific and genuinely yours. You know things about human beings, about change, about what actually helps and what doesn't. And this is something most people never get close to understanding. And yet, you open social media and you see those coaches with 50,000 followers. They're posting those 60-second videos about their morning coffee. You see engagement numbers and view counts and viral moments. And something inside you wonders, am I doing this wrong? Have I somehow missed the boat? Am I behind? Because the world seems to reward the loudest, the flashiest, the fastest, and the most visible. I want to offer you a completely different way of seeing this. First, let me assure you, you are not behind. You aren't doing it wrong. You are, in fact, a thought leader. I want you to consider that you've been measuring the wrong thing all along. So let me begin by naming what's really going on with social media metrics, because I think most coaches know something is off about it, but they just can't put their words to it. Likes, views, followers, shares, these are not measures of your impact. They're not measures of the quality of your thinking or how much your work is helping people. What they do measure is what captures the attention for a fraction of a second on a platform that was designed to keep people glued to their site. They are not measures of the number of clients a coach has or the amount of money that you've made this year. They're not the same thing. A 60-second video can get 200,000 views and change no one's life. But a single, well crafted piece of content that speaks directly to the right person at the right moment can change the entire direction of their life, their career, their sense of what is possible. And it might only get 47 views. The platform just can't tell the difference. The algorithm has no mechanism for measuring meaning. And frankly, it could be argued that the platform doesn't even care about meaning. What it cares about is keeping people's attention. It only measures attention, engagement, and that is not the same thing as impact. Social media wants people to stay on the platform, so it rewards this kind of attention. The companies are truly marketing and advertising companies. So when you create a post or a video that is meaningful, that has an impact and motivates someone to reach out and say, hey, I'd like your help, social media can't measure that. Only you can. I'd rather have fewer views and likes because the only thing that I want is to speak directly to the heart and mind of my dream client and to create a connection and eventually a conversation so I could support them in the future. But when you use the platform's metrics to evaluate your worth as a coach, you're asking the wrong question on the wrong tool. It would be like measuring the quality of a conversation by how many people are standing nearby. The number of bystanders has nothing to do with whether something has really happened between those two people. Now, let me tell you what you actually are and why that phrase thought leader isn't as grand and distant as it might sound. A thought leader is someone who has developed a specific earned perspective, someone who has done enough of the work, seen enough of the patterns, made enough of the mistakes, and sat with those questions to have something genuine, original to say, not a borrowed thing, not summarized from somebody else's feed, genuinely theirs. And you are that person. If you've been working with people, you've been coaching for months or for years, you have something that can't be manufactured or downloaded, and it can't be shortcutted. And listen, this isn't just the time that you count after you do your coach training. This is the time you've spent in your entire life listening and supporting and guiding people. Every one of those is an aspect of coaching too. You've got a lifetime of accumulated skills and strengths and insights. You have seen what happens when someone finally lets go of that story that they've been telling themselves for 20 years. You've seen that how that can change and what actually makes it stick. You've developed an instinct for what a client needs before they even have the words to describe it themselves. That's not just experience. That is a body of knowledge. It's a perspective, and the world needs that perspective, and it belongs to you. The problem isn't that you don't have anything worth saying. The problem is that the medium most coaches are using to say it, those 1 minute videos, the quick hit posts, those things are not the way to portray your message. You're not failing at the medium is failing you. So here's something I want you to really sit with. The coaches and professionals who most need what you have to offer are not sitting on social media waiting for a quick tip. They're experienced people with complex challenges and a healthy distrust of anything that feels superficial. They're adults. They've heard those simple frameworks and the three-step systems and the motivational slogans, and they're done with all of that. What they want is a real conversation, something that actually meets them where they are, something that acknowledges the nuance and the difficulty of the parts that don't quite fit into that superficial step-by-step framework. Now, that kind of conversation can't happen in a minute. It can barely happen in a newsletter. It happens in a podcast episode that takes its time. It happens in an article that is willing to sit with that nuanced idea. It happens in conversations when somebody is truly listening. That is what you're capable of. And ironically, that is exactly what is scarce right now, because most of the content being produced right now is optimized for speed and shareability, not depth, not staying power. The coaches who are building audiences that trust them enough to actually hire them are not the ones with the most followers. You can't give somebody that experience in a trending video. So let me talk about it and what it actually means to create content with staying power, because I think it's going to reframe that whole question about what's possible for you and what you could be creating. Content with staying power is not something that's going to go viral. Virality is, by definition, temporary. Something goes viral, it gets seen by a ton of people very quickly, and then it disappears completely, often within hours or days. Something with staying power gets found 6 months from now by someone who's searching for exactly the thing that you communicated. It's the content that gets sent from one potential client to another with that message. Hey, you need to read this. This is good. It's content that makes someone stop scrolling and read it twice because it said something they've been trying to articulate for years, and you finally found the words to help them. That kind of content takes longer to create. It means you have to have an actual perspective, not just a helpful tip. It's not that tips are not helpful, but when you want to create a conversation through your content, this is where you can come in as a thought leader. It requires you be willing to say something specific instead of something safe. And it tends to build a smaller audience, but that smaller audience is a different kind of group. They're not passive people randomly scrolling through a feed. These are people who have looked for something, they've sought it out, they've found it, and they moved enough to stay. Those are the people who become clients. They're the ones who refer other people to you. They're the ones who remember you years later and reach out when the time is right. A piece of content that reaches 10,000 people and creates no meaningful conversations is less valuable than a piece of content which only touches 100 people and generates 10 deep conversations. The platform is going to tell you that that first piece is better, that it's performed better. And the platform is wrong. Sure, it performed better for them, but what matters here is you and your business and your clients. There's a way of thinking about your business that I would love to offer as an alternate way to engagement first, because I think it's both more honest and more effective for those quiet coaches. What if the measure of success in your content was not how many people saw it, but how deeply it landed? What if instead of asking, how do I get more people to follow me, you ask this instead? How do I become genuinely known to the people who most need what I do? Those are very different questions, and they lead to very different strategies. Being genuinely known to someone is a much higher bar than just being followed by them. Following is passive. It costs nothing, commits nothing, but being known means something has been read or seen or heard. They've heard enough of your voice. They've experienced a bit of you. That kind of knowing is the thing that generates a conversation. That is what generates a call from someone who you spoke to 3 years ago, and they've been thinking about you ever since. You don't need a big audience to build a sustainable, thriving coaching business. The data that I gathered from the Coaching Business Growth Survey is super clear. The coaches who are signing clients consistently are not doing so because they've reached thousands of people. They're doing it because they've become genuinely known to a number of good fit people. That's the shift. That's what I'm inviting you to. From reaching that whole big number, the many, to being known deeply. From producing content that tries to chase the algorithm to creating a body of work that speaks directly and specifically with real depth to the people that you are most equipped to help. I want to come back to where we started. If you're the coach who, when this episode opened, you started feeling, gosh, I'm kind of behind, I want to offer you something to hold on to. The experience that you've accumulated is not irrelevant. It is key. It's the one thing that can't be replicated by somebody who has a better light or a better sound system. Your depth, your experience, your expertise is not a liability. It is your greatest asset. And the professionals, the humans who most need what you have, that you've spent years developing, are out there right now looking for exactly that. They're not looking for a 60-second reel. Sure, it's entertaining. They're listening to podcasts like this one. They're reading long-form content that takes them seriously. They're attending talks where someone speaks with real authority about something that actually matters. That's where you belong. Not competing for attention in a feed, but building a real relationship with real people through the quality of your thinking and the depth of your heart. You already are a thought leader. You just needed someone to hold up that mirror and show you what's been there all along. Thank you so much for being here with me today. I'll see you on the next episode of She Coaches Coaches.